So, not gonna lie, 2022 was not what I expected. Nonetheless, I learned a lot of things and I believe I captured the most important things in this Notion board. Super excited to walk you through everything that I learned, some things that gone through, and things that I will change for the next year. I believe this is going to be super valuable. I put quite some time into creating this, so I hope you will extract anything out of it. That being said, 2022 was kind of a strange year. Worked, I operated three different businesses throughout 2022. I traveled somewhere between 25 and 30 times between 8 different countries. I actually lived for at least a month or two, at least 2 months or longer in, I think, three different countries. And I worked on a one-on-one basis with over 100 people. So I've seen what they've gone through, what they did in 2022, and I learned a lot from seeing others win and seeing others fail, seeing what works, what doesn't work. So I want to extract all of those lessons and share them with you in this video. So I think we got 9 points. Let's start with the first one on productivity and time. First thing is morning routines. So in the beginning of this year, I was really big on morning routines. I did a lot of things. I tried a lot of different morning routines. I very much enjoyed it. It was a great process. And I believe there's different seasons. Nowadays, it's super popular to say, I just drink coffee and I get to work. Some big names in the entrepreneur space are really promoting that thing. I believe that you go through seasons kind of. Sometimes you really, personally, I have seasons where I need time in the morning. Right now, I'm heavily focused on my business and my growth. I just moved to Prague, very much for business reasons, partly because it feels like my home, but partly because I really want to dial in and focus and grow my business. So my morning routine right now is actually super simple. I do need a little bit of time to wake up. So here's a picture of myself, and this is kind of how my morning looks like. I wake up, I put in my incense, a candle, I meditate for, sometimes honestly I meditate for 2 minutes if I'm really not feeling it. I try to aim for 20 minutes always, but yes, not every day is going to be perfect. Usually it's between 10 and 20. I take a shower, I have either coffee or tea, I take my time with drinking that, try to make a mindful process of it, and I get to work. What I found to be super important, and this is the big lesson, is to be very productive, I need to start working early in the morning. So I used to go to the gym in the morning. I don't do that anymore. I want to start my work before 8 a.m. And then when 11 a.m. comes along, I already finished a lot of work. I've probably already full days of work, and I can confidently say, okay, I can stop working now and just have fun the rest of the day. So after that, I go to the gym at 11 and I come back and still do extra work. And all those extra work is extra. I could have already stopped, but so that's something that I really feel good about. Something else that I've been very big on is time. I found that in 2022, you have so much time in a year and a lot of it goes to waste. So something that I don't do this every day throughout the year, but I like to do this a couple of times a year for either 1 or 2 weeks to really get conscious and mindful about how I spend my time. And this exercise helped me so much. I got it from a very big name. I won't mention his name, but a very big name in the online marketing space, like the mentors of mentors. I went on a call with him personally. He said, this is like the main thing that you should do. And this is what I've done. So we also used it at Alaya.io, a company where I was head coaching in 2022 as well, implemented it for all the clients when they onboard. And I do it myself still to this day, a couple of times a year. So I track my time for every 30 minutes of the year. Some other lessons that I learned is urgency. So you want you want to have a sense of urgency. If you're not connected to your purpose and your goal, and you treat your business like a passion project, you're not going to do big things. You're not going to move fast. You're not going to get things done. You need to have some sense of urgency and feel like right now I have to work, I have to do this. And I really didn't have that in the beginning of this year. So this is something that I've been tuning into more, and it really, really helps me. So what drives me, I think, I'm not sure what drives me, or I think this is something I have to reflect on, and it's quite personal probably. But having a sense of urgency helps me a lot right now with being a lot more productive. Again, value time, this is huge. You want to come on time to all meetings that you go to. You want to be very strict of your time. So I used to be very, very the opposite. And you lose respect from others if you don't come in time. People stop taking you seriously. It's kind of offensive. You just take someone else's time. So this is something that I've been starting to value a lot more since the last 4 or 5 months. This has been going very well for me. I think it's also quite easy to change if you change your mindset about it. So I changed your mindset about I'm not going to steal a minute of anyone's time. So I'm going to be on time. Whenever I have an appointment, I'm going to put it in my calendar. I'm not going to forget it. I'm going to plan my day the day before. I'm going to be very clear on how I'm using my time. So this was a huge thing for me, and I think I already mentioned it. Plan tomorrow, today. Oftentimes, I feel like, no, it's not necessary. And I start to lose track of the habit, and like weeks go by and I figure out how important it is to my personal productivity to plan tomorrow, today. So I use something called the productivity planner. So I have it right here on my desk. It's always on my desk, and I have my tasks always open looking at me, and I plan them the night before. I highly recommend it. I've tried a lot of things, honestly. I tried the softwares, also a lot of these other books. Honestly, I really like the owners. They're great people. It's Alex Icon, Mimi Icon. You can check them out on YouTube. They have a couple of great products, and I really, really love this one. And this is the only thing that really works for me. The other ones help. This one really works. So that's what I do. I lay out my clothes the night before. This I do so to make the chances of going back to bed very low. So I lay out my clothes, or at least some clothes. Sometimes it's just my flip-flops, some easy clothing for the morning. And I lay out my morning routine. So what I mean by that, I want to make it easy for myself to make coffee in the morning, make it easy for myself to do my meditation. So my meditation pouch is ready with the incense is ready. I'm having a glass with a bottle of water. I want to have those things really easy because in the morning I'm kind of a zombie. So I want to have those things very easy so I can go through that and make the chances of going back to bed or being lazy or checking my phone. This kills my day so much. So for me, these things are super important. And honestly, I forgot this many times, the importance of it. But yeah, hopefully this was valuable and you got anything out of this. I hope this relates also. Maybe this doesn't relate at all. So next point, second point on hiring. I'm gonna move through this a bit faster from now on because I don't want to make this an hour-long video. But what I learned is you want to hire slow, fire fast. I have a couple of hires that I believe were not optimal. I should have been faster on firing and slower on hiring. So I used to be very good with this when I was running my agency, and I kind of got easy with hiring. So just to be short, hire slow, fire fast. I think this is huge. Something that I learned as well. This is huge. And right now I'm really into hiring because I'm building and laying the foundation of my company. So A players hate working with B players, and one A player is easily as productive as 5 B players combined. I've made a recent hire for ScaleYourProgram.io, my consulting business, and it's just magnificent the difference between the output of an A player and a B player. It is unheard of. And what I also find is that A players hate working with B players. So once you start hiring A players, you have to keep the bar extremely high because you risk the chance of losing your A players. And I can't tell you how valuable it is to have someone who knows your company, has been in there for at least 6 months, 3 to 6 months, knows your whole business, knows you, the values, etc., and is an A player. Losing that asset is a tremendous cost. You want to avoid it at all costs. So raise the bar. This is my lesson for myself. Really raise the bar on hiring. Don't be afraid. So this is what I see with a lot of other people is they're afraid to make the step to start hiring and to pay good money for hiring. So they would only hire a very cheap VA from the Philippines, but they wouldn't make the hire from the real hire that they need. For example, a chief of staff, a solid content manager, a great appointment setter that is more expensive, or that is actually an A player. Because what I also see is that people are, and this I think I have myself as well, are afraid to hire people that are better than themselves. So as an entrepreneur, you feel like you have to be the top guy in your company, and it's like against your ego to hire someone that's actually more knowledgeable, more effective, harder working than you are. But this is actually, so you probably don't think that you're doing this, but this is probably what is going on. What you have to do is put your ego aside. Think of yourself, am I doing this right now? And if you are, stop doing it. Hire the A player that is better than you. Yes, you might risk the case that this person sees, well, he's actually not as who I thought I was, and they potentially leave. But those chances are very small because they are not in business for the same reasons as you are. They have different things that they're aiming for, the different things that they're optimizing for. So that's a whole different topic by itself. What I have to say is don't be afraid to spend good money on your team. If you need to hire, spend it and put your ego away. Hire people that are better than you because they will also raise your effectiveness. You'll start working harder as you know that your team is full of A players and they expect the best from you. So you want to instill the vision, the mission, and the principles. I haven't done enough. Why are we here? What are we doing? What is happening to the lives of our customers? And you have to instill this on at least on a weekly basis. And I didn't do that. I should have done that. And I regret that now. And this is something that I'm going to be pounding more on in 2023. This is also something that I didn't thought was very important. And now I'm realizing how important value and your principles are. And the last thing is document everything in SOPs and video recordings. Like all the small tasks, just make a quick, there's apps for this to do this, but just get a Google Doc, write out quick steps. It could be like 10 sentences, but you have that Google Doc, you can put it in your Notion or in your Airtable. After maybe 3 weeks of doing work, you have 10 to 20 SOPs. And you can give that to your team and they will understand your company much better. So I haven't documented a lot of things. I used to do this a lot. I stopped doing it. I'm doing it again right now and I'm seeing how valuable it is. So that's something that I hope you can learn anything from. So this one is huge, probably for many people watching. This is really, I think, a disease that's also created by social media platforms like Instagram, YouTube. So if you're watching this video on YouTube, chances are you resonate with this. So shiny object syndrome. So this happens at all the spectrums of business and probably also in your personal life, not only on the business model level itself. So people always talk with shiny object syndrome that people want to switch from business or take and try a new offer or try a whole new business model because the other one seems to be better, shinier, etc. This doesn't only happen on that level, it happens on your day-to-day, thinking that this software is going to change your business, thinking that changing your website with this new design is going to change everything, thinking you need these new running shoes to start running more often. And that's all crap. So you want to be aware of it. This is the most important, that you are aware when there are shiny objects around you and distracting you. That's the most important thing. And then sticking to the plan always pays off way more than switching to something else. And I'll tell you one lesson for me personally in 2022. I stopped running my agency. I didn't like it. So there was good reason for me to stop it. But if I reflect on it, what I could have probably done is hire an A player who could run most of the show and still grow it and put like 10% of my time in there. So I see a lot of people have been able to pull this off successfully. I didn't. I just closed down the whole thing. And I probably should not have done that because, I mean, it could have meant an extra 30K per month consistently for the last 12 months in my pocket. Money that I could have used to invest in myself, in my business, in my other business, in my team, into education. So this is something, and this was probably shiny object syndrome. Sticking to the plan always pays off way more. Now, you want to keep reminding yourself of it and ask yourself the question, what is the most important thing right now? Oftentimes, it's just selling more. Creating a better product, you can put a lot of time in that, creating better service, creating a better website, better marketing, etc. These things be benefited way more if you just get into the trenches and start selling, do the dirty work, start selling, close more customers, get to maximum capacity, have fulfillment troubles. Because if you sell more, you get more experience, you make more money, you learn more things through that. And then you can use that money. Now you have capital that you can inject into creating a better marketing, inject into creating a better product. So it's actually better for your clients. I learned at least from the 0 to 100K per month stage to just focus on selling more, because you'll learn more things in the process and you can use that money later on to invest in the product and make up for it, kind of. Obviously, there's a dichotomy in that. Product is extremely important. You want to make sure you have a good product, but don't get lost in the details, in perfectionism, etc. I think there's a balance. That's all I'm trying to say. Something else is in your day-to-day, shiny object syndrome happens as well. You want to prioritize your tasks from, this is what I do. I prioritize my tasks from 1 to 10. And I look at the task and I very bluntly consider, could this remotely be eliminated or delegated without taking away from the mission? So could this be delegated or eliminated without taking away from the mission? And then I start eliminating and I delegate what can be delegated. And usually almost everything can be delegated. There's only a couple of things like me recording this YouTube video that I would not delegate, or me writing deliverables for my clients, or creating a video sales letter for my business. I won't delegate those things, but everything else you can probably delegate. So, and prioritize them. What is the most important thing? Start with that. And the last point is you don't need the running gear outfit to start running. So I felt for this trap as I was buying the running gear. This happened to me last month. As I was buying the running gear, I knew this was kind of going to happen, but I had a great month, so it was kind of a gift to me, myself. But oftentimes you look at the standing desk, you look at the new camera, for example. If I have the camera, then I'll start doing more YouTube videos. If I have the new running shoes, I will be more motivated, or I can go out every morning and run. And this is not the case. You can use your old shoes if they're remotely good for training, and just start running with that. And as you start running, at some point, get the upgrade. Start closing a lot of deals, make a lot of money, and as you're doing that, get the upgrade for the standing desk, not the other way around. Moving on product and pricing. So I'll try to keep this quicker. Product over marketing over sales. So there's a dichotomy, as I said, but here's a great quote that I heard and it really made me think about product more deeply. And the quote was, you only need sales because you don't know how to market. You only need to market because you don't know how to create a great product. I think this was Naval who said this. And I found it to be quite true. So nowadays, I've been guilty of this as well. You see a lot of people make very big marketing claims, throwing out guarantees, or you don't pay, etc. What I figured out today is a lot of that is not compliant with consumer legislation, and we're very lucky that the consumer legislation team of the government is not really into this space yet, but maybe at some point it will. And a lot of the claims that are being made could get a business in trouble. Anyways, what you want to do is just make a really great product so you don't need those big claims to sell it. And you don't need to really push extremely hard on sales in order to sell the product. So the main lesson that I got for this is focus on the product as much as possible, and it will make the other processes much easier. It will make marketing easier, and the marketing will make sales easier. Okay, so something else, keep looking at your product and find ways to make it better. So right now, we're in the beginning stages of creating the product for skillyourprogram.io. We've already done the alpha in April 2022 this year. So that's about 8 months ago. Right now, we're turning the alpha into the beta. Alpha was extremely successful. I'm so happy with the results, and you'll probably see more of that on the website or in future YouTube videos. But I'm extremely happy with what it has become. Right now we're creating beta, and continually I'm thinking, actually every day I keep my notes a separate section or where it says product, where I just throw in ideas and ask myself questions. How can we make it easier? How can we make it more user friendly? How can we get our clients' results faster? How can we improve the user experience and the customer journey? This is actually important. And then I found out that designing and branding is actually important. So I actually had a separate coach that just did design and branding for our clients in the alpha. Maybe that was a little bit too much of that, but over time what I found out, it's not just the product and the marketing and getting clients, it's also how you present yourself to attract the right caliber of clients. And branding is a big part of that, and it doesn't take a lot of time. This is the beautiful thing. You don't need months of distraction to have good branding. You can hire a designer to create a brand book, and then you can use that brand book to make a beautiful website in Webflow, or hire someone else to build a template using that brand book that you've bought for $200 to $500. And yeah, it's quite easy. That's all I'm trying to say here. Highly recommend reading, I read it, I think in 2017. I think I just turned 18 when I read the book. 6 years later, last week, I listened to the audiobook. So I highly recommend it. Steve Jobs autobiography. Here's the picture, and you'll learn a lot about product. And another thing that I learned is better to charge a lot of money for a superior product or service and sell it to a select few than to charge lower ticket and be able to fulfill a lot of clients because you have a more simpler, cheaper offer. So this is huge for me. I'm going to take that with me for the next year. And I touched on this earlier. Sometimes selling more is the best solution to creating a better product. Boom. Next point, spirituality. So you've already seen this picture, but I really forgot and lost touch with how important my spiritual practice is. And my spiritual practice is daily meditation, at least once a week, taking my time for myself to do sauna, steam room, cold plunge. Right now it's taking time in the gym and really stay focused. I don't like to train with other people. I just really enjoy being with myself and enjoying the workout. I think it's a mindful experience. And then also I take time for the sauna, steam room, cold plunge, sauna probably multiple times per week. Steam room, cold plunge, I haven't done that in a while. I loved it when I was living in Amsterdam a couple of months ago. I'm gonna find a new spa here in Prague, but I haven't gotten to that yet. And then the other thing is journaling. So this is also daily practice for me, and it's extremely important. Yeah, these are separate YouTube videos, so I'll keep it short for now. This is me in the morning, my daily practice. It's extremely important for me, and it literally changes who I am. So I feel like a different person in the weeks that I meditate consistently. I compose myself differently. I walk different, I talk different, I think different. And what I attract and manifest into my life is also more positive. And as you meditate more often, and this is really beautiful, this is a recent change for me, you learn some strange things that you can only learn through your practice. And some of those things is like consciously being able to observe your thoughts throughout the day. You go throughout the day, you have all these thoughts in your mind, but you feel like it's you. And through meditation, I learned how to observe those thoughts and see, hey, I can observe those thoughts. So that implies that my thoughts are not me. I'm a separate entity from my thoughts. This is extremely interesting, and this will make you a lot more present, a lot more self-aware. This is huge. I think I'm still a novice when it comes to meditation, but these are things that are now starting to develop for me after years of off and on meditation. So also quieting the mind. This is so amazing. You probably have those days that you lay in bed or you wake up or you're sitting behind your desk and 1,000 thoughts race through your mind. Meditation helps me to just silence that. Put off the sound button, basically. Turn off the noise. It's amazing. And then also recently I'm like training my ability to really go deep inside. And maybe it's like way too woo for the beginning of this channel, but I wanted to share this. It's personal. I would like to keep it real also. I don't want to show a different side of myself. I show really who I am. So I really go deep inside, and it's really hard to explain what that means, but I find a place inside myself that is very deep. That's a very small little home where it's silent, it's still, it's very calm, it's protective, and I feel really powerful in that place. And then when I go out of the minute, I wear that new power with. So enough on the spirituality, I guess. I think we have to do those things maybe in a couple of months from now. Maybe when I go to Portugal or Tenerife, those are better times to talk about it. So let's have the next point, and that is home, friends, and family. So 2022, I traveled way too much. As I said, I think I traveled around 20 to 30 times through 8 different countries. I flew overseas to the States, bunch of countries in Europe, digital nomading. It was a lot of fun, but what I really figured out is I needed a home. So I need a base that is my home, that is my safe space, that feels like me, that's not someone else's. It has my stuff, it's my base basically. And I talked a lot about this with my friend Eric Alaya, and he really helped me with this. He told me, bro, you need a home. You need to stop doing this digital nomad shit. And he was 100% right on that. So I found a place, so I moved to Prague. I found a place that really fit my style and vibe. It's very unique. As you may have seen, the walls have a particular color, and here in the picture you can see a bunch more. So I'm actively doing my best to really make it my own. And I found a new passion, that's interior design, having a lot of fun with that, finding pieces in antique shops, on the internet, on auctions to furnish this place. I'm really looking forward to turning into something beautiful. So now that this place feels like home, and here's the real lesson, I enjoy being here, and I feel less attracted to hedonism and escapism. And also I'm more productive in my home office, which right now this is where I'm sitting at. So what do I mean with that? I lived in an apartment that was twice as big as this one, multiple rooms, multiple bathrooms. It had a pool table. Last year in Prague, I lived there for 8 months, but I never really worked in my I even had a separate room for my office, and I never really worked there because the place didn't feel like home. I didn't really like it there. Had none of my own stuff, none of my own style. So what I did, I went out to cafes a lot and worked in cafes or co-working spaces, and I was way more focused there. Now that I have this place that really feels like my own, with my desk, with the light coming in, I'm way more productive. I enjoy being here, so I spend more time here and I work more hours. So this has been huge for me. And if you're digital nomading, consider getting a home, maybe even cheap. So I pay very little for this place, and I I make more than enough to be able to go on a digital nomading trip to anywhere in the world and stay there for 1 or 2 months in a nice Airbnb and still have this place without worrying about money. So that's something that I recommend. Get a base. If you have to, get something that's a bit cheaper, and you can always travel. It doesn't mean that you can't travel. I mean, I can be away for 6 months and I don't care about it. So family is very important. So I regret not having them close to me right now here in Prague, but I do take way more time and I take my family a lot more serious than earlier. So this is something that I learned over 2022. When the shit comes down and when you're going through bad times, you fall back to your family and your friends. And I mean, even just having family, it's you're extremely lucky if you have it. I consider myself to be extremely lucky with the family situation that I have. And yeah, this is very huge. So make sure, and this also counts for your inner circle and your friends. You fall to your friends when you go through bad times. So make sure to be present with them. When you're with them, make sure to be fully present. Make your friends aware, and probably also your family, of the importance. You don't have to literally say it, but you can probably hint it and show it, and start valuing them a lot, and probably naturally they will value more. They will value you more as well. You want to nurture your friendships as well. Same for your family. Bring people together, create meaningful experiences. If you don't have, so this is something that I struggled with like for 4 or 5 years, between like 17 and 21 probably. I was really deep in entrepreneurship, but I didn't have a lot of friends that were doing that as well, that I could talk about the same stuff and that I could really trust and that were going through the same things. So if you don't have a solid circle, create one. Join a non-business coaching program. So this is what I recommend. Join a non-business coaching program or community where like-minded people reside. And it's better if it's a small group, so not more than 300 people probably, and if it's very high ticket. So the more you pay, the higher the bar is for entry, so the higher the chances you meet valuable people. And this is something that pays off many, many times. So I would pay that price every day of the week. And then, this is very important, be very proactive in that community and you'll naturally attract people. So that's an important part. And then the last thing is be the person that you want to hang with, and they'll naturally be attracted to you as well. The money and the success is great, but for me personally, I found that this is not the most rewarding part. So the things that make doing business and going through all this pain of entrepreneurship really worth it is the relations that you make on the way, whether that be your clients, your team, or just friends that you meet through business. So the relations, this is so powerful, and developing those relations, this is for me the most rewarding. And then creative expression. So creative expression and the fun of building a company. So let's take those 3 things, and you might think, well, they are fun. They are, okay, I understand it. But are you actively seeking to do these things? Actively create those business relationships? Actively express creatively through your business? And then actively enjoy building an actual company? Not just going through the moments, going through the tasks, but building a real company that's onto a mission that brings value, where you can creatively express everything that you want to express through that vehicle. So this is something that I've been meditating on a lot and doing more. Just being aware of this enforces it, I believe. So I want to give that to you. And the last thing is, this is a huge mistake. It's a felony. Don't be a criminal in business and not do these things. So I should have been more strict on tracking everything earlier. So that means tracking profit and losses weekly, if not monthly, and then doing full breakdowns of all your business profits and expenses recorded, And what I've recently started doing is doing the same for my expenses. Really getting clear on how much am I spending, what am I spending on. It's not to be very picky and frugal and greedy about money, but it's what happens is if you can make 100K and you don't know where it's after a year, you don't know where that money went after a year, and this probably happens to many people watching, or many of you watching, then probably exactly the same thing will happen with 1 million or 10 million. Or to make the example very simple and relatable, if you're not clear on where your last month's paycheck went, then this will probably happen to making 1 million or 10 million. Making more money won't change that. And building wealth is more of a ratio. This is Hormozy, I'm quoting. It's more of a ratio than a number. I believe roughly that's what he says. It's about what you keep after what you spent. So this really helps with that. And I really haven't done this, and that was a huge mistake. I wish I would have done it. And then setting KPIs for the business and measuring the right things or the right KPIs. So a great book on this is Measure What Matters, and another one is Good to Great. Good to Great is general business book, but they have a couple of subjects that really helped me with focusing on what to measure. And then track, if you're doing any B2B business, track your out, record your calls, rewatch your calls, track the calls and the outcomes, etc. Track numbers. So I started using this sheet. I created it myself. We're tracking monthly stats by channel, and then some things that we focus on is like, what is the cash per booked call? So how much cash comes into the bank for every call what is the cash per customer, and what is the revenue per customer, and what is the difference, and why is the difference, or the question is, can we change the difference to zero? So those are some things that I track. What channels are most profitable? What channels bring the best clients that you enjoy working with the most, or that pay the most money or generate the most profit? So the least cost, but the most profit. So those are a lot of things that you want to track, and you want to be on top of them. And as you are on top of them, at least on a weekly basis, you get a lot of feedback really fast, and you can change things before they become a problem. So using this really saved at some points. There was a couple of metrics that became very visible for me, and I was like, wow, I didn't know it was so bad. And then I need to figure out, well, how do I fix that? And then you improve it, you get the feedback, the number goes positive again. And I believe this is also a general tool to make you a better business person. A lot of people will be kind of lazy on their business because they think, yeah, it's kind of running, things are happening, it's good, etc. And then they think about, well, what's the next SaaS business? What's the next billion-dollar unicorn company, etc. While the business that they are running isn't really working that well. And the problem is that they're not aware of it. At least this happened to me as well, because I wasn't tracking the numbers, or those people weren't tracking the numbers. And when you do, you really get clear feedback and data on what could be improved. So this is really powerful. What can be improved? How am I going to improve it? You start asking these questions, you make plans, you implement it, and then you get the feedback, you see the number rising, you get a lot of confidence, and you go on to the next. And I believe that's how slowly over time you become way more effective in building a business. So I want to keep it right there. These were 9 lessons from 2022. I hope they were valuable for you. And if you stick until the end, I'm extremely grateful, because I'm not the speaker that I want to be yet. So I highly appreciate you heard me out all the way. I really hope you extracted anything from it. If you wanna see more of this, if you wanna have recommended videos in your feed like these, or my best videos recommended in your feed, subscribe, leave a like, and the YouTube algorithm will do the rest of the world. So that's it, and thanks for watching. Cheers.